Welcome to Drew Manchu's Comic Book Reviews. I'm your host, Drew Manchu, and today we're going to be taking a look at Joker, Killer Smile. Joker, Killer Smile is the story of Dr. Ben Arnell. He's certain that he'll be the first to succeed where everyone else has failed, and he's going to cure the Joker's madness. He believes that he can compartmentalize, and he's absolutely sure that no matter what he goes through at work, he can keep that away from his family. But Dr. Ben Arnell is very, very wrong. The story starts off with a young boy peering up to the sky, looking at some balloons. Purple and green balloons filling the sky of Gotham. And we come to realize that the narration is the Joker, describing his art, his performance. The balloons all pop, they were filled with toxin, and everybody dies. And Batman comes to punch the Joker in the face and ruin his good time. We then realize the Joker is being interviewed by Dr. Ben. When the doctor says that he can't tell whether the Joker is being sincere, Joker remarks that that's going to be a problem if he's going to be diagnosing him. But Ben says he's not here to diagnose the Joker. He's here to cure the Joker. Joker thinks that's hilarious because if he cures the Joker, it's not going to bring back all the people that he killed. But he knows it's not about him, and it's not about his victims. It's about Ben and Ben's ego. The recording of this interview serves as the backdrop for the next scene where Dr. Hutchins is basically telling Ben that, be careful. You don't know what you're getting into with the Joker. She wishes him well on his experiment, but she's not going to extend his time here with the Joker any further, and he's a little upset about this. But she draws a line in the sand, only 2 more weeks of this experiment, and then he's done. She's not going to lose another mind to the Joker. We get a nice look at Ben's personal life when he gets home from work. We get to see him interact with his wife and with his son, and some of the narration actually starts to mirror the Joker's story. Ben starts reading his son Simon a bedtime story, and he starts to realize it's pretty twisted. Once upon a time, long ago, there was a happy place in a happy forest. And wouldn't you just know it, this place was even called Happyville. Oh, and Happyville was the happiest place there ever was, and everyone in Happyville knew each other, and they were all the very best of friends. But all that was about to change. You see, on the last Saturday of the very last week in Happyville, a new friend came to town. He called himself Mr. Smiles, and boy oh boy, was he a character. Mr. Smiles carried a strange thing in his hand, and all the curious critters of Happyville gathered around to see what it was. Mr. Smiles was more than happy to give a demonstration of his amazing contraption. Step right up, he declared as he pulled the starting cord, and the rumble of the device's small engine and the smell of diesel fumes filled the spring air. And the blades and the teeth of Mr. Smiles' happy machine began to spin and spin. He asked Simon where he got the book. He said, "You gave it to me, Dad, remember?" He says that he promised that he'd read him the book, and as he goes to read on, he sees all the horrible gore and viscera at the end of Mr. Smiles' chainsaw. And he refuses, and he makes Simon go to bed. He goes to head to bed himself, and his wife can tell that something's up, but he hides the book from her. He just says that he's stressed out from work. But she says that he's the kind of guy that overthinks things, and maybe he thinks too much. He drifts off to sleep, and he starts to dream about a balloon that pops. He hears something downstairs. He gets up in the middle of the night and goes to check it out. The light switch flicks on and it brings him to his senses. He says, I heard something in the night, and go back to bed. But his wife tells him it's 8 o'clock in the morning. He's been sleepwalking through the house all night long. He's disoriented and he doesn't know what's going on. Next, we get the Joker talking about his famous fish gag. And Ben kind of wants to use that as a means to get to know where the Joker came from. He says to do that, you must have had a chemistry background. He says, oh, so you want to get to the bottom of me? Okay, I'll tell you where I came from. And he says, once upon a time, long ago, there was a happy, happy place in a happy, happy forest. And when you just know, this place was even called Happyville. And he starts reciting the book word for word. This freaks Ben out, and he leaves the room. He goes right to the restroom to splash some water on his face. And he sees all kinds of gore and viscera and all kinds of different horrible imagery in his head as we get the continued story of Mr. Smiles in Happyville. Ben continues to have hallucinations as he sees a dead, laughing man sitting in the toilet, but he realizes he kind of just burst in on a guy. He feels like he's losing his mind. Apparently, after Mr. Smiles came to Happyville, it wasn't so happy anymore, and the critters who survived Mr. Smiles' arrival barely remember ever being happy at all, until one day one creature worked up the courage to go to his door. When Mr. Smiles answered, the little critter asked him, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you hurt all those nice friends of mine?" And Mr. Smiles said, "Well, why don't you come inside, and I'll tell you." He said, "If I come inside your house, you'll just hurt me too." Mr. Smiles says, "You're goddamn right I will, but won't you come in anyway?" The animal came in, and Mr. Smiles had been hiding a big knife behind his back, and he proceeded to stab, stab, and stab. And as the animal lay there dying on his floor, Mr. Smiles asked, "Why on earth did you come inside? You knew that would happen." And the creature responded, "Because I needed to know how it feels." All right, gang, I've been known to say Black Label has been disappointing. I mean, we got Bat Wang and Cholo Etrigan the Demon. Wasn't my cup of tea. I've also been known to say that all these Black Label books are Batman books. Now they're all about the damn Joker. We got all kinds of Joker books coming out, and I'm the first one to say, enough with the Joker. Enough with the Black Label Joker stories. Everything's about the damn Joker. Harley Quinn and the Joker. Harley Quinn loses her mind being a therapist to the Joker. So what is this? This is another therapist losing his mind, interacting with the Joker. But I'm telling you right now, guys, you put Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino on this book, and it just changes. It just changes the whole premise. This is 110% trope in concept, but it is masterful in its execution. There's nothing special about this story. There just is something special about the way that it's being told. It's Gideon Falls creepy. It's just, the aesthetic of this book is amazing. It's not overdone or overblown. There's nothing about it that is gratuitous in any way. It's just really creepy storytelling. Not much happened in this book. 2 little interviews with the Joker, a little look at what this guy's home life is like, and you realize that he is losing his mind. And the Joker calls him out on it, basically says, "Hey, you were the one who keeps saying, 'Let me in. Let me know what it's like in there.' And it's going to drive you mad." He called it. His boss called it. The Joker knew it all along. His wife called it. There's something wrong with this guy. And I kind of want to see how far Lemire takes it, because his work with Sorrentino is just so perfect. They just go together perfectly. I loved their work on Old Man Logan when that was running. And I loved their work in Gideon Falls. Just the perfect team to tackle something like this, even though it's like, there's not really much to it. Pretty bare bones. But sometimes the simplest drive around the block can just be really enjoyable because of who you're taking the journey with. Joker Killer Smile is a 3.5 out of 5, guys. I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep picking this up until it's over. Perfect creative team.